Hey y'all, Quinlan Clark from Engraving Creations, and today we're gonna build this bench. Let's get to it. To get the project started, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this massive piece of walnut that I just picked up from my local lumber supplier. We're gonna cut it in half, clean up the edge so that way we can join it together, and we'll go from there. All right, now that we have our jig done and cleaned up, we can take our metal tubing, cut it into the sizes that we need. Then we'll take those pieces, squeeze them into this mold. That way, when we weld it, we know that it's gonna stay at a perfect angle. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna square up the ends first, and then we're gonna cut our angles and throw it in our jig. You know, I really wish that I had something a little bit more accurate, reliable, and powerful. I said I wish we had something a little bit more accurate, reliable, and powerful. Yeah, buddy. I am so excited to open this thing. I have hated every single second of cutting anything with one of those abrasive cutting wheels. It just deflects, none of your angles are right, and is just incredibly unreliable. So after doing a little bit of research, I have chosen the Evolution 355 as my new shop toy. I am incredibly excited to open this, so let's do it. Primer's on, looks absolutely spectacular. I can't wait to throw the high gloss black enamel over the top of this. But before we get that on, we're gonna hop over to the CNC machine and we're gonna do a little bit of engraving. Okay, well, here goes the most stressful part of the entire project. Once I hit go, there's no going back. Yep, I messed up. I messed up pretty bad. When I was designing this in my 3D program, I did not account for how I was going to slide in the actual bench portion into the frame. And no matter how many different ways I'm configuring this, it doesn't fit. Not at all. So there's a few options, And every single one of them involves cutting something, either these portions off the bench or this portion off the bench or the bench itself or the frame itself. And I think that's the one that I'm actually going to lean towards, because with the lettering and the placement and the way that this would have a gap and it wouldn't be supported the way that I want it to, pretty much only leaves actually cutting the frame itself and then putting the bench in and then re-welding the frame with the bench in it. And that is the only way that I know how to do this. I messed up. I'm going to say it again. We all make mistakes, so let's try to fix this one, and hopefully no one will ever notice. All right, so here is my plan. I am still using the Evolution saw, just because I don't trust my hand with the actual 4-inch grinder. I don't think that I could get it perfectly straight, and the Evolution saw is just going to work out a little bit better. So here we go. Okay. So what I've done is I've suspended the saw off the table so I'll be able to cut the actual bottom rail that the bench itself sits on. And what I'm going to do is I've marked out the lines where I'm going to cut, and then I'll weld in these pieces of steel where the blade kerf is. That way the metal is going to be the same length. And then I'm going to connect the middle of each cut with this steel tube. And I think with all of that and a little help during this, because this is going to be dangerous, and with the right safety gear, this should work out just fine. Cool. To hold this thing together, what I got going on here is some rare earth magnets mixed with some square magnets and some levels as well. So let's pop out. All right. So we got the levels on both sides where the bench is going to meet the actual frame. We got a little bit of pressure pulling the two sides together into the cross member. And there's our spacer. So magnets, clamps, couple straight edges, and we're good to go. That's all for today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed watching the process of this build. Tomorrow, this is going to get shipped off to an elementary school where it's going to be a reading bench to help commemorate a fallen teacher. First off, I'd like to thank the family for giving me the opportunity to help his memory live on. Thank you. A second thank you goes out to Matt Estlia. I used his video on applying Osmo Finish as reference on this project. He explains each step very well and even took it a bit further when he broke down when to use a new pad. You all should definitely go check his channel out because this one video doesn't even scratch the surface into the knowledge that he has to share. Another thank you goes out to Justin from the Fabrication series. He steered me in the right direction when I was trying to find a more accurate way of cutting metal. Putting the Evolution 380 against an abrasive wheel and a bandsaw gave me a pretty clear picture on what to expect. On that note, the only thing that I haven't heard about this saw on the internet is the fact that the positive 90-degree and positive 45-degree stop are not accurate. The actual angles when slid as far as the stops go is 91.6 degrees and 43.8 degrees. So when changing the angle on this, you have to dial it in each time. But that is my only complaint about the saw. So if I'm doing it wrong, please, please, please let me know down in the comments. Other than that, this thing is a beast. The cuts are cold, clean, and it cuts through the metal like butter. I am so happy that I went with this saw over the other saws on the market, and I can't wait to see what it makes next. If being a maker is something that you're thinking about doing, the only thing that I have to say is dive head first. If I wouldn't have followed through on an idea that I had a few years ago, then I wouldn't have been a part of such a humbling experience. So take that first step and just see where it takes you. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, and if not, then I guess we won't see you next time.